I need an arm and leg. I need an arm and head. Cardi and leg.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be looking at NBA teams that have not been in the playoffs for the longest, and I'm also be going to rank their chances of returning to the playoffs. Now, without further ado, let's go straight to it. With number 1 on the list, we have the Phoenix Suns, who finished the season with a record of 34 wins and 39 losses, and they have not been in the playoffs in 10 years. Now, Monty Williams had the Suns playing their best basketball since the last time they made the playoffs in 2010, and I know that might not be saying much given their record, but considering the Suns were ranked 28th in the league a season ago in offensive rating and improved to 16th in the league in just a year, I think that's a tremendous improvement. And on top of that, besides Ricky Rubio, the rest of the squad is 24 years old or younger, which gives the Suns an actual chance to build a playoff team with the pieces they currently have. Even though they're in the tough Western Conference, I think the Suns have the right combination of a young star to build around in Devin Booker, who was simply unstoppable in the bubble. The Suns also have quality role players who can share the load, and also a head coach who looks like he has the potential to lead the team to their first playoff appearance in a decade. I know this may not happen next year, but I really believe that the Suns have the best shot of returning to the playoffs than any other teams I will mention in this video. With number 2 on the list, we have the Sacramento Kings, who finished the season with a record of 31 wins to 41 losses, and the last time they made the playoffs was in 2006. Now, the Kings do have some talents that could potentially make a push for the playoffs soon, and right before the bubble, they were knocking on the door in the Western Conference. A critical move that the Sacramento Kings made in the last 20 games before the bubble was moving Buddy Hield to the bench for Bogdan Bogdanovic. That switch gave the Kings a plus 2.2 net rating, which was higher than that of the Houston Rockets, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Utah Jazz during that span. I know that's a small sample size to work with, but with Bogdanovic set to become a restricted free agent this summer, moving him into the starting lineup will help the Sacramento Kings in contract negotiations down the line. Now, if the Kings decide to re-sign Bogdanovic this offseason, they will have him, Fox, Hill, and Bagley all secure for the future. And that's even before mentioning the fact that the Kings still have great future draft picks, which I think is a great spot to be in for a team that has the longest active playoff drought in the league. But there's some downsides about the Sacramento Kings though. Starting with Bagley, his health should be a concern for the team because he only played 14 games this season due to a sprained left foot, and also there's no guarantee that the Kings will keep Bogdanovic. And also, it doesn't help the fact that the Kings owner has been very vocal this season in his frustration with the front office and the coaching staff. You know, I think maybe what the Kings need is a little change in the front office in order to make that push to the playoffs. With number 3 on this list, we have Chicago Bulls, who finished the season with a record of 22 wins to 43 losses. And they have not made the playoffs in 3 years. Now, the Bulls' chances of making the playoffs is pretty much dependent on one thing and one thing only, is who is going to replace Jim Boylen as their next head coach. Okay, pause. Now, in the middle of making this video, I just learned that the Bulls hired Billy Donovan as their next head coach, which I think is a great signing. And I really think that Coach Donovan is capable of repeating the same success he had with the Thunder. And I think Zach LaVine will really go off next season. Now, on paper, the Bulls should have the best chance at making it back to the playoffs than any other team on this list. You know, with Zach LaVine, who was nearly an all-star this season, with a Kobe White, who emerged as a scoring machine down the stretch. And also Chris Dunn, when healthy, was one of the top defensive players in the league. But the season for the Bulls was filled with a lot of injuries, starting with Lauri Markkanen, for example, who took a significant step back from his second season in the league. Even though he was injured, he played about the same number of games as he did the season before, and he was far more effective 2 years ago. When the Bulls were at their best this season, they were a very good defensive team, which was ranked 5th in the league at some point, but they've always had issues getting consistent offensive production from certain players. Again, I think the Chicago Bulls are maybe a year or 2 years removed from making it back to the playoffs, especially playing in the East. It's going to come down to how Billy Donovan will coach this team and how the rest of the squad will react to it. With number 4 on the list, we have the Atlanta Hawks, who will finish the season with a record of 20 wins to 47 losses. And the last time they were in the playoffs was 3 years ago. Now I think it's too early to tell what a competitive Hawks team would look like, even with Trae Young being an all-star this season. Now, John Collins was very impressive this season, averaging 22 points and 10 rebounds after serving a 25-game suspension. DeAndre Hunter also had an impressive season as he lived up to the tough defender label he was given heading into the draft. Cam Reddish, on the other hand, has been very inconsistent with his shot all season. So it's going to be very hard to imagine right now how valuable he will be to the Hawks in the future. What I like about this Hawks team is that they have time on their side. Yeah, I think they have about 4 to 5 more years to build around Trae Young and get back to the playoffs. But I think they gotta do it sooner rather than later before Trae Young gets tired of carrying the team and leave. That was it for today's video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I'm out.
I need an arm and leg. I need an arm and head. Cardi and 11 leg.